You are welcome to the dashboard. This dashboard gives us an holistic view of all what makes up our earnings, our expenses, our withholding tax, and also give us an estimate of our tax liability. Now, if you look at this is an expense analysis breakdown. It categorizes all what makes up our expense in percentage. Look at this. So our allowable expense is 40 something, 40.25%. Our rent is just 1.42. So it gives us the total expense we have is 28.246 million with the percentage category. Now looking at this is giving us the breakdown in value and their corresponding percentage. All our allowable expense is 11 million and it contributes 40.25% to the total expense. Now, it's further broken down to each of our expense line. We have costumes and wardrobes, essential personal services, food and drinks of 2.78 and 9.84. So, if you look at this, all of these are our expense line, and all what makes up costume and wardrobe are embedded in this. So, and all of them is 9.84% to our total expense. So and like that, all what means our food drink contributed 1.98, location 4.25, marketing like that. Then we come down to our non-allowable expense. Our non-allowable is 3.24 and it contributes 11.47%. And what are those things that make it up? They are club subscription, our depreciation of assets, general provisions, and their respective percentage. Also, our tax-free, there are some expenses that are tax-free such as gratuity, life insurance, national housing fund, national health insurance scheme. Yeah, all of these are tax-free expense and they contribute 46.87 to our overall expense. Now let's look at our rent. Our rent is 400,000, just 1.42%. Now this is our opening balance. This opening balance is our bank opening balance. And you observe that when we are at the point of profile creation, there was a point where we fill in this 25,000 at the bank creation tab. Yeah, so this is the opening balance. Now this is our closing balance at the end of the year. So after which where our total earnings less our expense. So this is the remaining balance in bank. Now, let's go down to our profit and loss tab. Now, this gives us a summary of all what makes up our profit or our loss. Now, look, this is our total earnings that we earn on all the projects for the year, all the earnings that we earned. Then this is our all the expenses that we incurred for the year, the holistic value. Now, this is the breakdown of this 28.246. The breakdown of our total expense is allowable expense is 11.368 million, rent or non-allowable. So if we add all of these four together, they will give us our total expense of 28.246. Now, our net income is now 31.93 million. That is our total earnings less our total expense is what will give us 31 million. Let's note that this my profit and loss is a summary that tells us our accounting profit for the year. It focus on the accounting profit. So you know we prepare three basic financial statements which are statements of profit or loss. This is telling us about the statement of profit or loss. Now let's go to our withholding tax um, tab. This gives us a withholding tax summary. Let's look at it. Now, this is our total withholding tax booked for the year, our total withholding tax collected for the year, and our total withholding balance that is not yet to be collected. Now, let's first understand what do we mean by withholding tax? Withholding tax is a tax that is deducted at source by the vendor, and our vendor in this instance can be a production company or can be any of our vendors. Yeah. So there is when while we are earning, the law allows the production company to deduct a certain percentage from our earnings as a withholding tax to be remitted to the government on our behalf. So the total withholding percentage that was withheld is what we call the withholding tax booked of 2.98 million. Now, the withholding tax collected means that this is the total withholding tax credit notes that we have received from the production company. That is, this the production company will remit all our withholding tax to the government, and after which he has remitted, an evidence for us to know whether he has remitted is by issuing us a withholding tax credit note. So the point where he issue us the withholding tax credit note, then we have collected the withholding tax and we must record it as a withholding tax that has been collected in the form of credit note. Now, our balance is now the difference between the total withholding tax withheld, that is the total withholding tax booked, less the amount that we have collected so far. Now, this is our withholding tax balance that has not yet been collected and it is an asset to us. So now let's go to our my income tax exposure. Now, this is telling us about our taxable profit. Don't forget that this was accounting profit. Now, this is talking about taxable profit. How do we get our taxable profit for the year? Now, according to the tax law, it says your total earnings, which is 59.34, less only your allowable expense. The tax law only give provision of allowable expense to be deducted from our total earnings. So that's why the difference gives us a net income of 47.97 million. Now, there are some deductions that the law allows, such as tax-free can be deducted. Tax-free are expense items that are not subject to tax, such as National Housing Fund, National Health Insurance Scheme, pension gratuity. All of these are not subject to tax. We are not paying any. So we are deducting it from our total earnings. And also, according to the new law, now this we are taking Nigeria for an example. The Nigeria Tax Act 2025 gives us a form of relief for our rent of 20% on your rent as a relief, and the cap is 500,000. So in a case whereby your 20% of your rent is less than 500,000, such value will be disclosed there. But if the 20% of your rent is greater than 500,000, it will only be 500,000 will only be granted as the relief. So then the difference between all of these from our total earnings will give us a chargeable income. This is now what we can call our taxable profit. So we are having a taxable profit of 34 million. On this taxable profit is where we shall estimate our how much of tax am I paying to the government. So following our personal income tax, yeah, this application applies to various African countries. So according to the tax band of your country is what the tax liability will be estimated. So now for Nigeria, the the personal income tax band is for the first 800,000, 0% tax, and for the next 2.2, 15% tax. That's our tax band. So this app automatically estimates the amount of tax liability that you are exposed to. And then looking at it, our tax liability is 6.9 million. So this is the amount we are expected to pay to the government as our tax. And this is the reason why we have set up this application to explain how to know our tax liability for the year. Then our withholding tax used for the year is 0 naira. Now, these are probable tax payable. That is, this is the our total tax that is payable to the government. If you look at it, there's difference between this and this. Yes, because we are having a withholding tax credit note that have been collected of 42.5 42,500,000. So that's why we're having this as our probable tax payable after we recognize our withholding tax credits. Now, we also have our tax withholding tax unused till date. If you observe, we did not use any withholding tax for the year, while this is the cumulative of all the withholding tax that has not been used over the years. So this is everything about the dashboard, but you need to know something. Look at this. Don't forget that all of this that we said here is only applicable to year 2026. If you want to see the breakdown of 2025, you come here, click on this, then click on 2025. So now, you see the total expense that we spent in 2025 is this, and that is the breakdown. Our tax liability was 7 million and like that. So if you want to check 2024 the same way. So yeah, that's how you can check for 2023 downward. Yeah. And also, in a case whereby you need an help of the admin, you can just chat the advisor, look at this, can converse with him, say, I once said hello, then he responded, hi Abraham. Yeah, so you can reach out to he's online, so you'll be responded to. Now let's quickly have a walkthrough. Look at these projects. We have our projects, can create earnings, we can create expenses withholding tax. We have our bank GL. The bank GL there gives us the breakdown of all the money that came in, all our debits and all our credits. So and the closing balance. Look at it. All our accounts, Access Bank and OPay, it gives us the summary, all transactions. Do you want only debits only to be displayed or credit or all? Look at this. This is both of them all and our balance was displayed. So it gives us a summary of all the money that entered our earnings and all the expenses that we incurred. Look at our analysis now. Look, we have a comparative analysis. Comparative analysis tells us about our profitability trend for each of those years. Look at this. So we can compare comparability. So it's an analysis that compare how much was our earnings in 2026 and 2025. Look at it. So we made more earnings in 2026. Also, we can compare our liable expense, rent, and the rest. And we can also compare our net income, which is our accounting profit. Look at this. You see, we made more profit in 2025. We made lesser profit in 2026. And like that, that is our comparative analysis for all of the years. Yeah, and our total net income is 129. We can also do the same for our expense trend. You want to understand how much did I spend on accommodation in 2026? No, nil. Then 2025, 1.2, like that. What is the total expense I spent? Yeah. So for each of the expense line, each of the expense line, each of the expense line, yeah. So it gives us a comparative analysis. Now look at it. We're having a grand total expenditure. This is our total expense for the year, 28.24. Our total expense for 2025, 10, and like that. All our total expense over the years, 88 million. Now let's quickly check our cumulative analysis. Now, cumulative analysis tells us all about all our earnings from projects. Look at it. These are information, earnings information about each of these projects. Now, contract fee was 14.8, barter value, the total value, the outstanding, total gross, and our total net. So we are yet to collect this. So it gives us the summary of all our earnings from all projects. Look at it, the harvest and yeah. So we can also check our withholding tax. Yeah, there is a breakdown here we can see, can show more stats. So it gives us total, this contract price is the cumulative for all the years, total value, barter value, cumulative for all the years, 2023, 2024, 2025. So all of this figure is a cumulative figures. Now we can come to our withholding tax cumulative. The same applies. This withholding tax is cumulative, withholding tax cumulative for all of the years from 2022, 2023, everything cumulative. Now we can also check our settings. If you want to do any setting, look at it. You can edit your profile. Look, why you were registering, why creating profile, these are the information you supplied. If it's wrong, you can come and edit them and impute the figure there. So you can just change this information, can change this information, can change this information. Then for bank state information, you can also edit your information by clicking. If there's any error, you can just quickly edit and save. Oh, cancel. Then if you want to create a new one, you can also create. Now you can also check this our available matrix. Oh, this one is just a map telling us when you'll be available for booking, while this telling us about your expense type. If you want to create an expense type that will fit you specific to your operation, you can create it here by selecting the category, by inputting the figure you want to, the expense type you want to create, and your workspace access. Now, looking at this is telling us about the admin that is allocated to you. So if you're having any challenge and you want to reach out to the admin, you can always invite him by sending an invite. See, you have sent an invite, he will receive it at his end. And if you want to, once he received it, he will accept, and then he can access your dashboard. And once you want to revoke, you can click revoke access, and it will no longer have access. So this app is strictly confidential. Your data are securely protected, and you are the one in control of it. So thank you, I for walking through this together, and